Today we're checking out the top 10 biggest wage bills in the Premier League in 2024. But make sure to stick around to the end because I also check out the relegated clubs' wage bills as well. So let's not mess around at all, and starting off with number 10. And in this number 10 spot is Everton, with paying per week £1,524,000 or £79,248,000, which Everton almost spend $80 million on just players per year. But here are some of the players that actually get paid the most out of almost that $80 million, with Danny Alley getting paid £100,000 a week, or £5.2 million annually. Jordan Pickford is the second highest in Everton, getting paid £110,000 per week, or £5.72 million annually. But the highest paid player this season for Everton is getting paid £120,000 per week, and it is Andre Gomez. Also, here is the full list for Everton's paid players. But now we move on to number 9, which is Newcastle United, paying their players per week £1.638 million per week, $85,176,000 per year. And here are the top 4 players they pay, and 3 of them are on the same amount of $120,000 per week, with Sandro Tonelli, Alexander Isak, and Kieran Trippier. But Bruno Guimaraes, I'm pretty sure that's how you say it, gets paid the most in Newcastle with $160,000 a week, or yearly that's $8,320,000 per year. Plus, before we move on, at this current point of time, Newcastle United are sitting in the top 6. So moving on to number 8, which is West Ham United, paying their players per week is $1,833,000, being $95,316,000 annually. And as we see who are the highest paid players for West Ham, with Jared Bowen being paid $120,000 per week, Danny Ings and Kurt Zouma on the same wage with $125,000 per week. But the highest paid player is Lucas Paqueta, I think I got that wrong, with a whopping $150,000 per week, which annually that ends up being £7.8 million. Now, as we move on to Tottenham, who has the 7th biggest wage bill in the Premier League, with paying their players per week $2,130,000 or $110,760,000 per year. But Christian Romero and Timo Werner getting paid $160,000 per week, James Maddison getting paid $170,000 per week, but Heung-min Son, the highest paid player in Tottenham, getting paid $190,000 per week. But as we move on to Aston Villa in the number 6th spot, but with also just paying a little bit more than Tottenham, which is $2,135,000 per week. But the reason why Aston Villa's wage bill is just so high is due to the fact that Aston Villa is paying 13 players over £100,000 per week, and with their top 3 players getting paid the exact same amount, which is $150,000 per week. But these players are, and I know I'll stuff the names up, is Tielemans, Karma, and Langlet. Honestly, Aston Villa have had an insane season being in the top 4, so maybe this strategy can't work. Spending a lot more money on a lot of good players rather than buying 2 or 3 star players. Okay, so now we're breaking into the top 5 with some of our favourite teams and favourite players. So as we start off with Liverpool at the number 5th spot, having a massive jump to $2,670,000 per week, or $138,840,000 annually. And of course, just spending over $100 million on just players a year gets you 3rd place in the Premier League. But all the top players that are paid are Liverpool. Well, Thiago is in the number 3rd spot, getting paid $200,000 per week. Then we have another well-known player who is Virgil van Dijk, getting paid $220,000 per week. And of course, the highest paid player in Liverpool is Mo Salah with $350,000 per week. Now here is the full list, and definitely a lot of players are getting paid over £100,000 per week. Liverpool's season has been decent. We move on to Chelsea in the number 4th spot. I mean, sitting in 8th place really does tell it all. But apart from that, Chelsea pay their players $2,978,000 per week, or $154,856,000 per year. And if you're a Chelsea player, you're treated very well, especially number 1 on this list, with Ben Chilwell and Wesley Fofana both getting paid $200,000 a week. And then second place is Reece James getting paid £250 per week, with the highest paid player at Chelsea getting paid $325,000 per week. week, which this player is Raheem Sterling. And just per week, that is an insane amount of money. Now, as we move on to the top 3, we move on to Arsenal, and let's take a look at what Arsenal players get paid, with Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard on $240,000 per week. But next is Gabriel Jesus on £260 per week. And the highest paid player at Arsenal is actually Kai Havertz, which of course is not as high as Mo Salah or even Raheem Sterling. But Kai Havertz gets paid $280,000 per week, which is really still an insane amount of money to earn weekly. Now, as we move on to Man City in the second spot, which is absolutely shocked how they're not first, 8 players get paid over $200,000 or £200,000 per week at City. And then the players that get paid the most, they are Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish, who get paid over £300 per week. And of course, Erling Haaland is on £375,000 per week. But the highest paid player at Man City is KDB with a whopping $400,000 per week. Okay, so before we take a look at number 1, first let's look at the lowest clubs paying their wage bills, which are Burnley with $707,000 per week, Sheffield United with $674,000 per week, and Luton Town with the low $469,000 per week, which even if you combined all of these clubs together, that would equal $1,850,000 per week, meaning it's just a bit less than 7th place Tottenham, paying only $2,138,000 per week, which really just shows you the difference between the top clubs and just clubs that are in the relegation zone. So finally, let's take a look at the number 1 spot, being Manchester United, which Manchester United is paying per week $3,821,000 per week, or annually $198,692,000 per year, which is almost $200 million per year on just players alone. So let's straight away take a look at their highest paid players, with Marcus Rashford on $300,000 per week. In second place is Rafael Varane with $340,000 per week. And the highest paid player at Manchester United at this current point in time is Casemiro with $350,000 per week, which obviously isn't as high as Kevin De Bruyne, but it's still insanely high. Now here's the full list of all the Premier League clubs' wage bills in 2024. But apart from that, guys, I will see you in the next one.